Welcome to another episode of the CPG Guys podcast. Our hosts, Sri Rajgopalan, Peter V.S. Bond, and Brian Gildenberg explore how brands and retailers engage consumers in an increasingly digitally driven world. And now, here are the CPG Guys. Bonjour and welcome to the CPG Guys podcast. I'm PVSB, your co-host, and when I'm not co-hosting this podcast, I serve as Partnership Acceleration Lead at Flywheel, a division of Omnicom that helps enterprise brands grow and scale their e-commerce business through SEM and SEO. I am joined today by my co-founder and co-host. He's the proud papa of two incredible performing artist daughters, Ria Raj and Lara Raj. Please do follow them. Their social media links are in the digital liner notes of this episode. He's also married to Kavita Raj, co-host of the Lights Camera Conversation podcast. He is the patriarch of the blossoming Raj family entertainment empire. He's also the chief revenue officer at Think Blue. Of course, I'm talking about my ride or die, Sri. Hey, Sri, how you doing, man? What's going on?
Bonjour to you too as well. Doing awesome. We're back from Cannes, France. And man, it was my first. It was exhausting. It was a busy 4 days by choice. And you and I are no longer going to hold Cannes as, oh my God, we don't know what it is. And we're going to bust some myths today. We're going to tell some truths today. We're going to give some details today. The goal of today's podcast is to kind of speak to everything that took place at Cannes. What do you think? No Yankees, no Dodgers.
It's off our bucket. What's on our bucket list now, Sri? Let's just end game this. I mean, that was the big one, right? And we've done it.
That was a big one. We got it done, and now the only thing that's really left is the Dodgers-Yankees World Series.
I was going to say our name's on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, but okay, we'll go with the World Series thing.
Let's go with the World Series.
So, Sri, let's we wanted to use this episode. Before we get to the episode, there's some boilerplate. I just want to make sure that we run through to our audience. We want to ask you to help spread the word about this great community we've created in the CPG Guys, nearly 400 episodes strong, coming up on episode 400. Obviously, we want you to share this podcast with your friends and colleagues. But if you're using Apple or Spotify as your preferred listening platform, please leave us a rating, the numerical rating in terms of stars. It helps feed the algorithm that makes us more findable by CPG retail people like you, looking for both education and entertainment. We're also really happy to be part of an impressive collective of highly rated podcasts, including CPG Scoop with Reese and Jennifer, and of course the FMCG Guys, a super hot podcast over in Europe with Daniel Frayne and Christine. Links to our podcast, our sister cast, the social media profiles of Shree's daughters, Ria and Lara, his wife's podcast. And I think now, did we start including your cat's Instagram account? I think we did. They're all found in the digital liner notes of this episode.
Did we? It's called Zane Zorazumi.
I know, of course. I'm not kidding people, really. Seriously. They have, hey, and who are we to mock them? They have more followers on Instagram than the CPG Guys do. So what can I say? I think we're kind of cuddly looking, don't you think, Sri? We're a bunch of cuddly old guys. We're not that anyhow.
Closer to teddy bears.
Yeah. So Sri and I made our way over through London Heathrow, and then to Nice, France, and a quick little Uber ride down the coast to Cannes on the Riviera, where we attended the Cannes Lion International Festival of Creativity. No, this is not the big movie event that took place a couple of weeks prior. This is actually an event that is primarily for the agencies, the advertising agencies, and the brands that they represent, to essentially acknowledge all the great creative work that they have done. There's some traditional work that focuses on print, but increasingly it's much more on digital as the mechanism for that. So that's what the primary event is. But as Sri and I found out firsthand, it's not just about creative. Why don't we start there, Sri? What was this about? And what were some of the, was that all that it was about? I guess that's my question.
Before we even go there, I want to mention something about London Heathrow. I've been taking that route for 30 years, maybe at least once a year. I remember sitting at a bar in 1997 on the southern end of Terminal 5, and nothing has changed. Like, nothing in the layout has changed. Security is chaos, like chaos. They still make you take your laptops out. Your liquids must be in plastic bags. But, here's a little tip for travelers. If you're ever passing through London Heathrow, you should go through immigration because, as an American passport holder, you don't need to go through a person. You can just go through a machine and then come back through fast track security if you're changing terminals. Fast track security actually doesn't require you to remove your laptops, your liquids, your shoes, belts, things of that nature. It's just weird. And they've eliminated fast track.
No, liquids they make you take out. That's the only thing they make you take out.
Not if you come in.
I came through fast track and we went up and the guy, just like you said, no computers, but he said, you must take your liquids out.
If you were switching terminals, yes.
No, this was staying within Terminal 5.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. You came out, you landed in Terminal 5.
I didn't switch, and I left through Terminal 5.
That's what I'm saying. But you got to do security in London. But if you leave the terminal, go through immigration in the machine, and you come back through security as though you were checking in with an agent and coming in from the outside, that fast track operates differently than the Terminal 5, which I don't understand. But whatever, the flights were late. They did 7 circles as expected before landing in Heathrow. No offense to anyone living in the UK, but man, that's a drag. All that said, is Cannes Lions Festival made out to be what it is? So for 30 years, Peter, I've listened to marketers that I've worked with, some of the largest brands in the world. So a lot of activity going on from a creative perspective. PepsiCo, Johnson & Johnson, Revlon. I mean, these companies do tons of creative. And then, of course, my latest alma mater, General Mills.
So who's the archetype that went to this from a brand perspective?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to, Peter. The archetype that has gone for 30 years that I would always listen to stories from were marketing people and very senior leaders.
Yeah. Specifically, like what level?
So I'd say starting director and above. But I've also seen some senior managers go depending on, which company it is, the size and scale, and if they were winning an award, nominated for an award, things of that nature. The one thing that was pretty clear to me, this year is different from last year. This year, there was a huge presence of retail media, so the archetype is actually evolving. But prior to that, every year...
No, but I'm talking about historically, it was like the chief marketing officer.
CMO, as well as I'd say directors of marketing, like people working in the creative space, right? And I felt for the largest time, the entire festival is a vanity party for agencies and brands, kind of celebrating campaigns they've worked on together, and a board of advertising coming together, aka the Cannes Lions Festival of Creativity, giving awards for work already done in the past. I mean, is it important? Maybe. But kind of celebrating stuff that's already happened in the past, and impressions primarily being I can't even say impression.
So let me get this straight, Sri. Let me get this straight. A vanity party for CMOs? That just seems so just seems so out of place, don't you think?
That's what I used to think it was. Just let me be clear, Peter. You and I both went to Cannes. How many creative events did you go to at Cannes Lions 2024? 0. Here's how my time went. We recorded a bunch of podcasts, very meaningful conversations. One of them wasn't creative with Anastasia.
It's not that there weren't creative act tracks.
Oh no, the festival is anchored on creative. You and I just couldn't find time to go.
We didn't have time, and it wasn't our priority.
Yeah, and also there was a ton of retail media stuff, AI stuff, like we were needed at other places. But bottom line, Peter, what is the festival about? Just it does anchor back to creative, lots of conversation on creative, lots awards for creative. But the newness in this is very clear that this year AI was a big theme. Retail media was a big theme, more in-store retail media than the traditional form we're all used to online. And I think the conference is really diversifying in terms of the conversations that take place.
I would agree with you that AI was a predominant topic if you looked at the formal agenda of Cannes Lion. But if you looked at the formal agenda for the actual festival, there was only a single, not even a track, a single event that made mention of retail media. One single event. And yet, would you have known that based upon who dominated the landscape of all the tents and cabanas along the beach?
No, Peter, because I think the way this worked out is the festival itself did a single one, but retail media providers across the board. I mean, we saw everybody from Walmart Connect, Amazon port via the Amazon ads, larger than ever before, from what I heard, Kroger Precision Marketing, Albertsons Media Collective. The list goes on and on and on. And they were all having their own conversations, kind of dominating and creating the thread of retail media networks and the importance of it in the CPG universe go forward. Now, remember, this event isn't only for CPG, but in the CPG world, certainly it was relevant.
But there were, I mean, what was interesting about this for me too, Shri, is before we kind of get into the more details of this, is there were also a lot of other companion events going on. You know, the people over at Brand Innovators had a full schedule of events just down the street, not part of Cannes Lion, but they were basically drafting off of the fact that there were all these industry leaders there, and they were inviting them over to their side. And just for our audience sake, understand what Brand Innovators is. Brand Innovators is a they present themselves as a forum for marketing people to advocate their whatever they're talking about. It's actually a mechanism by which suppliers, service providers can gain access to all these people. So they're basically footing the bill and getting introductions to all these people. But it's a big showy event. There's no question. So Cannes not only has its own event, but it draws a lot of other ecosystems around it, knowing that there's so many people in critical mass at that CMO kind of level, all there together at the same time, so that they can draw them to their events as well.
Couldn't agree more. Now, initially, I thought, what a farce. Like, why would you try to do another event? It's like during grocery shop, if someone else was hosting another event same time or one day before. But actually, it's not a bad idea at all because the CMOs and marketers are already there. Why not leverage it and have discussions above and beyond creativity and talk about brand innovation? I see nothing wrong with that.
Innovators are able to monetize it, right? Because they can easily draw people that are already invested in going there, bring them over to their event, host lavish parties, and get them funded by the service providers that are looking for the one-on-one introductions to these CMO level people. So, I mean, everybody's happy.
So let's solve the answer to an important question. Are the CPG guys going to host a lavish party in 2025 at Cannes Lions?
Well, I think we're going to do something at Cannes Lions. I don't know if we're going to do something as ostentatious as other people have done.
You're saying no yacht parties? Can we talk about yacht parties?
Here's what we'll do, Shri. Whatever party we have, we'll have yacht rock playing in the background.
Hey, there we go.
How about that? How about we just that way we can say it's a yacht party, but we really don't have to pay for because you know what? I have Amazon Unlimited, so I can just stream yacht rock on that all day long.
Let's do it. Let's do the yacht rocks. We promise we'll demystify some myths, right? For those of you that haven't been before listening, a large part of our audience is also commercial, supply chain, finance people. So we've all had to live with this notion of the great yacht parties and what they mean or they don't mean. And having to listen from our marketing peers that the yacht parties are awesome and mind-blowing and amazing and things of that nature. So I decided to go to a few yacht parties. And I do want to call out and thank Criteo for its hospitality. Sherry
Very nice. Wonderful people.
Smith was kind enough to invite me to two of them and let my wife join us as well. I was impressed very much with what Criteo was doing. I'm not so sure how the other yacht But all the yacht parties really are is, instead of getting a meeting room in a space in a hotel or in the convention center, you use a yacht, the docked yacht, as and obviously for those who go to these events, I'm not telling you anything new, but the hundreds and thousands of our audience don't listen. But use different layers of the yacht, different floors of the yacht for meetings and for talks and for guest conversations, as well as then in the evening do social hour and dinner and things of that nature. And I really, really, really enjoyed going to a couple of the events on the yacht party, especially the one which was about retail media in Europe, which I enjoyed listening to the speakers, because retail media is coming to Europe only now in any meaningful way, especially on the online side. And, socializing and networking was awesome. So again, I want to solve the myth that it is a lot of fun. It was well organized by Criteo, but I don't think finance, supply chain people, salespeople, you all need to lose sleep over the fact that you can't go. It's another event. It's another venue. It just happens to be on a standstill yacht. For some crazy, stupid reason, Peter, I would always think these yachts actually floated on the water and they'd move out.
Well, I mean, they are technically floating, but let's just say this. The mooring line is never released. They're not going out to water, certainly not during the event. In fact, down the other end of the beach from the Criteo yacht was the Meta pier, and they had a very long pier, and it went out to a dock there. And I thought, wow, Meta's going. You walk down to the end of the pier, and then some shuttle boat takes you out to the giant Meta yacht in the ocean. In the Mediterranean Sea, but that's not the fact. The pier itself was the venue. That's as far as you went. So at no point did I ever see anyone get onto a shuttle boat and then go out to some. I mean, when we came in, sure, I remember there were two big cruise line ships there, and I think you and I jokingly referred to those as the small Amazon boats, as opposed to their large ones.
Bottom line, if you want to get under the water, you got to charter your own yacht, a boat.
You got to get your own.
Well, what I did, I did it the easy and cheap way. I said I always had a lifetime dream, so did my wife, of seeing Saint-Tropez. And it was 5-minute walk from the hotel I was staying at, which again, I want to thank Flywheel for their hospitality of being able to find me an accommodation in the local area in the first place. We were able to walk to the ferry landing, and we were able to take a ferry hour and 15 minutes. Those of you that want to go visit other areas, highly recommend. It was awesome, easy, straight ferry, and Saint-Tropez was awesome as well. And that's how you're going to actually get out into the water. Now, Peter, I want to talk about podcasts we recorded. We recorded 8 different actual episodes. So why don't you tell us, who do we record and what's coming soon in the next 2 months on the CPG Guys?
So let's break this down. Let's start with I think our first recording was with, well, there were a lot of recordings. So let's just go with the big one. I'm not even going to bury the lead. We recorded episode number 400. As you may, if you're an avid listener of this podcast, when we crossed episode 200, our guest was the Chief Revenue Officer at Walmart, Seth Dallaire, and we thought, because that is our most listened to episode ever, by far, like huge numbers, we thought we got to double this up. So we met with Seth Monday morning, and at 10 a.m. we recorded an episode with him, and I've got it in the bag, and I got to say, it's a good one, Sri. Really excited about that.
Listen, anytime we have Seth on, I learn something new. It's episode 400, super bumper special for us on the CPG Guys. I want to thank Walmart Walmart Connect Communications for actually working with us. This is a mega episode for us. We're proud to have hit that mark in the next month. It's releasing July 31st. Do not miss it. And deep conversation, not just on Walmart Connect, but also Walmart Data Ventures, Walmart Luminate, and Walmart Plus. So we hit all aspects of things being developed at Walmart and the importance of how the data and analytics will connect back to your business in CPG world as a vendor. So fabulous episode from them.
Yeah, it's a must. Don't miss this episode. It's a really good one. The next one, I want to give massive shout outs to our friend Jeffrey Cohen at Amazon. Jeff helped us arranged 3 interviews at Amazon Port. The first one, we did one with him. We did one with a woman by the name of Anastasia Lang, who is the founder and CEO of Creative X, which is in the Amazon ecosystem. And the third one was with Jay Richmond, the head of product for Amazon Ads. All of those took place at the Amazon Port in their little studio. They gave us a whole production crew. They could not have been nicer. They turned the episode content around so fast, Sri. I think we had it that night. The minute after Jay was done, almost instantaneously, we got all the raw video footage. So great conversations. And I really like the one with Anastasia. I think what she's doing at Creative X is quite astounding. But to get to talk to Jeff about what it is to be a tech evangelist at Amazon Ads, and then from the product perspective, Jay, 3 really good interviews. What do you think?
Yeah, let me first hit the one with Anastasia because it hits upon a very important topic. And what that is, if you look at Instagram, Facebook, and you're a regular user, what we generally see is the world of creative now is being plagued by AI. Now, of course, if you and I and other users were able to look at it, they'd be able to simply say that, okay, this is not creative, this is not made by a human, but regardless, it's out there and it's deep and it's actually permeating. In that sort of scenario, no better person than the CEO of a creative agency to talk to us about how AI is handling creative today and where it'll go tomorrow, and kind of putting our fears to bed that somehow the world of creative is going to get destroyed by AI. So classic conversation on applied AI. I don't enjoy it when people have conversations with AI just randomly as a word and try to decompose what the word is as opposed to the outcomes. And that in that episode, we'll have a deep conversation on creative and AI and address all aspects of it. I enjoyed Jeff because I asked Jeff before the show if rather than do an episode that gets technical on Amazon, he'd be willing to do one on himself, leadership, and just Jeff, the person. I'm happy to tell you that Jeff obliged, and we have a great conversation regarding somebody who's actually got the title as evangelist of Amazon Ads. And to solve that mystery, watch out for that episode in the next 8 weeks and listen to Jeff speak as he tells us his career and life journey. And then the third one, Peter, was actually again on AI. So we hit 2 topics on AI with Jay Richmond, where we got into how Amazon plans to use AI and is already using AI and what's up for the future. They made a big announcement about AI in the interface of Amazon in the app as well as the website go forward. We got to hear from Jay Richmond himself, who's integral to that, on what another applied AI example, the role of AI on everyday Amazon user experience. What do you think of those 3?
I think it's a great conversation, another you don't want to miss. So I think 3 nice conversations. And then we got a little bonus from Jeff on our on my last day there on Wednesday. Jeff asked us over to Amazon Port, where you and I, Jeff, and a couple other people live streamed on LinkedIn Live on the CPG Guys page. Now, it was an experiment, right? And no experiment's a failure. It's just another learning experience on the way to perfection. I would say that, when you have questionable bandwidth and you've got a band playing with lots of loud music, it can be a little challenging. But we made a good effort. Sri, it was a lot of fun, and we'll probably do more things like that in more controlled environments. But a good experience all around. So thank you to the people at Amazon. Chloe, who helped organize us, get us all the files, and obviously Jeff, who arranged everything. And also don't want to forget Paul Costas, who got us and asked Wayne to make sure that we got invited to Wednesday night's big party with the National, a nice indie band. It was a good time. So grateful. And you know what, Sri, it's a real precursor to what we've got planned working with Amazon in October.
Unboxed.
For Unboxed. More to follow on that. So anyhow, we did 3 with Amazon. We did Seth, our friend Imtiaz Ahmed from Reckitt came back and did Applied Intelligence.
By the way, that episode has already been released last week, so please go listen to it if you haven't.
That was great. Go listen to it. We also did. Go ahead.
Hold on, Peter. You missed an important one here that you and I actually were MCs.
I was going to get to it.
Impatience, bad virtue.
You haven't let me finish. We had a great conversation with Nicole Vincent from Kellanova, who joined us. She's in digital at Kellanova. She worked with Julie Bowerman at her last gig, Haines Celestial, and she followed Julie over, and we already had Julie on the podcast, but she was there. And then, of course, on Monday night, this was the evening after we recorded with Seth, you and I co-hosted a private invite-only event at the Walmart suite at the Majestic Hotel, where you and I got to MC a conversation with the one and only Ryan Mayward, SVP of Sales at Walmart Connect, and my new colleague, Jacqueline Baker, the CEO of Omnicom Commerce Group. So that was one where we graciously were granted permission to rebroadcast that private event as a podcast episode. So that's coming. So, and then of course you closed it out on Thursday, going down to the Kroger Precision Marketing 8451 cabana on the beach. And you had a conversation with our friend Kara Pratt, who runs Kroger Precision Marketing, and one of her CPG brand clients, Megan Johnson from Mondelez International. That was, I mean, we got some powerful lineups here. We don't have this. This is not the D list. This is the A list we got, Shri.
Yeah, so all these episodes will be released July and August. Please do listen and find them. We're talking deep AI over here. For the first time, we're getting into applied AI, not just decomposition of AI. We're talking retail media up the wazoo with in depth of what's going on. We talked again, as I mentioned, about Walmart Plus. Fantastic conversation with Nicole Vincent on AI and its applicability to daily marketing and digital marketing. We've hit the spectrum here across the board of our conversations. And then, very important topic with Kara Pratt. We actually went into details on how retail media can or can't contribute to environment sustainability. Something that wasn't even at the top of my head, but when you thought about it, Peter, two things. In-store display, cardboard. Tons of cardboard to make it happen, tons of labor to make it happen. On the other hand, if you think in-store retail media, that's a swap, it's the carbon footprint of screens. Apparently, a comparison between the screens and cardboard, what's better for the environment is obviously the use of screens, whether it's electricity or whether the actual light burning on a screen. Yeah, the math has been done.
Well, here's the one that I've got to look at the math, because here's how my mind works, right? In order to generate electricity, particularly in the Northeast of the United States, it's highly driven by coal, which is a fossil fuel, versus cardboard, which is a renewable resource, which is paper. So I do question the sustainability of the two. It really depends upon, at the end of the day, where the energy source is for the digital content. But yeah.
Exactly. And also, Peter, it's a game of additives. You add up all the energy in and all the energy out. I think that's where it actually makes a difference. Those are the podcasts. So, a bunch of new podcasts coming up for all of you. Then I want to talk about other events that I was able to go to. And I want to call out and thank Jonathan Rosen from Stratacash for inviting me to a few events. I really wanted to listen and learn and also participate in the discussion on retail media evolving to in-store retail media. No better company than Stratacash to kind of lead that conversation. So I was able to attend a offsite event at Antibes with what was called Retail Changemakers, with retail media leaders, period, across the board, with Jeff Bustos from IAB and Jesse Dowd also being the host, who's an editor at Pat to Purchase Institute, who was also a sponsor of some of these events. Absolutely fabulous conversations again on in-store retail media being the next bastion for where retail media is going. And I was also able to follow up the next day, Peter. I was able to go to a European retail media conversation. And for our American colleagues listening to this show, in America, our retail media is primarily focused on online and on-site and off-site. In Europe, in-store media, which is really display and feature, is already part of retail media, and the merchandiser owns the P&L for that. They call that retail media. And they're only developing the online retail media now. Little bit of a jar for me, a little jarring to hear that, and that we're behind in the US, but also a clear presumption from me that, hey, merchandisers, if you're listening to the show, it's one P&L, man. And both online retail media and in-store retail media do need to come together because they all drive attention, they all drive traffic at the end of the day. What do you think?
I think that you also had an opportunity to speak with or see Jeffrey Bustos and Jesse and Jonathan the following day, along with our dear friend Christy Argelin at the Albertsons Cabana at Media Link Beach, when they spoke about in-store retail media. So it wasn't just that event and the walkthrough Antibes, it was also in front of a more formal audience. I think
Hey, let's give a shout out and kudos to Albertsons and Christie for Albertsons Media Collective and Christie. They are one of the leaders bringing together both in-store display and feature as well as online retail media under one leader, Omar. So I want to call that out. It's the first in the industry I've seen, and I think it's fascinating, but it's the right place to go. Thoughts? Is in-store display retail media in your head, Peter?
Sure it is. I mean, I argue that retail media has been around a lot longer than owned and operated digital platforms. I would argue that the Catalina coupon machines that were at the checkout was a form of retail media. So were the Act red coupon machines attached to the shelves. I would argue that the CVS register receipts, which will cause me to live in infamy for the rest of my life, are very much retail media. Yeah.
What are we talking about again? 6 feet, 7 feet? What happened?
So I know 6 feet. And of course, the Kroger loyal customer mailer coupons. All those are forms of retail media. In-store radio, retail media, right? Anything where, here's how I would describe it, and this is retail media. Anything where the actual real estate is controlled by the retailer, or the way to target the audience is, again, controlled by the retailer. That to me is retail media. So creating an audience that you do deliver programmatic offsite or connected television advertising, retail media. Owned and operated website or mobile app, retail media. Physical store, retail media. Those are all, one way or another, you can't get the outcome unless the retailer is involved.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So two hot topics. We've kind of mystified what they were, demystified what they were about. Retail media, the conversation is shifting to in-store. I'd urge listeners to kind of get deep into that topic. A big decision the United States has to make. Europe has already made the decision. And the other one is, for the first time, a lot of conversation about applied AI. As you hear the word AI, I'd encourage all of you to do the same thing. Think about the use cases.
In fact, on Wednesday morning at Omnicom Cove, my CEO, Duncan Painter, kicked off the morning with a video series that included a video interview of yours truly, along with the Omnicom media group, where they asked me about how Flywheel is positioning itself to use AI to accelerate the generation and distribution of content. So it was certainly something top of mind. I also want to make sure to, I know you did it, but I'm going to do it too as well. Both tip of the hat to Flywheel for their great hospitality and involvement with the CPG guys, but more broadly, the curriculum of conversations curated over at the Omnicom Cove were really top notch. I saw Alex McCord, our dear friend, speak. Claudia Johnson, who I work with, Shri. She was on she actually hosted or participated rather in a TikTok panel talking about TikTok shops, along with our dear friend AJ Sharma from Bear, who also did a double duty in addition to representing Bear. He also co-hosted 2 CPG Guys podcast episodes because I was otherwise indisposed. So that was a good little catch. So,
Yeah, and I want to mention you said Claudia Johnson. We're looking forward to hosting Claudia Johnson for an episode of the CPG Guys for November, which is Women's Month on the CPG Guys and leadership. So I can't wait for that to get here.
I don't. You and Claudia have been getting a little too chummy there, Shri. I'm a little nervous here. You know, the role that you two play in my professional lives. It's like, I don't know. It's like crossing the streams in Ghostbusters. I'm getting a little nervous.
I think I'll be writing your performance review next year, Peter.
That's what I'm worried about right there. Now let's just cut right to it.
And right now, you need to pull up your socks on the CPG Guys. Okay, so now let's bust some other myths, right? So I want to talk about dinners and networking and social events. You know, for those of you that go to grocery shop talk, and the many events, countless events during the year that take place in our industry. Cannes Lions International Creativity Festival is no different. Bunch of dinners. They could be private. They could be.
I did a lunch. I did a lunch that McKinsey hosted down at Le Petite Maison down at the end of the beach. It was a very exclusive, very lovely venue. Now, of course, when I showed up, it goes to show you that no matter how elegant things are positioned to be, Mother Nature controls the decision in many cases. So they had all these wonderful tables set up outside, and as we were getting ready to sit down, the rain came. And they quickly scrambled us inside and had to rearrange the entirety of the inside of the restaurant to reposition everybody. So we ended up starting about 45 minutes late. It went off okay, and we had great conversations. But, you know, there were some, you know, we made mention of the fact that Brand Innovators had a rather lavish set of parties and events. It will happen. And trust me when I say that the agencies probably did that to a large extent with their clients.
No debate at all. But the thing I want to emphasize is, again, no crazy, lavish anything. These are just the networking dinners of our industry that take place all over the place at any conference.
That's what they were. No, yeah, this was not a Hollywood party of the 1970s. Okay, it wasn't studio.
Hoping to go to the Grammys. The kids have promised they'll get me there next year.
It wasn't Studio 54. These are a bunch of corporate Madison Avenue executives, right? Not Don Draper. We're not in the Mad Men era, right? These were pretty responsible. Was there alcohol served? Sure, there was. Did some people probably imbibe a little too much? Probably. But the CPG guys didn't, and I didn't really see anybody when I was there who I would consider to have been overserved. We saw a lot of great people. You know, we ran into.
What happened on this episode where we went to overserving of alcohol?
I don't know. I'm just saying. You said it's not like what we're trying to bust a myth here, right? This was a networking event, and we did a lot of networking, right? We had you and I had lunch with Cara Russo, who's head of marketing at Walmart Connect. She's a dear friend of ours. I know you and AJ went to dinner with Melissa Burdick and the team at Packview. I had dinner with AJ and Duncan, my CEO, and then a couple of other events. So there was definitely a lot of networking there. Saw a lot of people either by design or by accident as I was going through. I happened upon right there in the middle of the promenade in front of the cabanas by the beach. There's a giant Cannes Lions sign that's iconic for use in selfies, or not selfies necessarily, but photographs for social media. I happened upon just as the 8451 team was there and got a great picture of all of them together. So that it's just a great event.
I do want to mention for first-time attendees, highly recommend going and getting your picture with this very sign you referred to. It's by the cabanas, the tents, cabanas, call them what you may. It's a long walk from it's.
Go look at the CPG Guys LinkedIn page. You'll see images of one of me. I think there's one of 8451. I think I put one up of our friend Sarabi from Church and Dwight. Yeah, it's a nice, you know, this Cannes Lions is designed, particularly in an era of creativity. The entirety of the Amazon port was one big curio emporium for selfie taking.
Yeah, fabulous because it had everything about influencers. There are so many parts of Amazon you and I don't touch because we're focused on the retail media and the merchandising side. This was everything was covered pretty much in the Amazon port. I am going to encourage listeners next those who make it out next year, like register early, get your pass, and just go check it out for what it's worth. I do also want to mention for those of you who will visit first time next year, after listening to the show and getting inspired, a visit to Old Old Town is a must-have. There's a church, the Notre Dame Church, right on top. Not the one in Paris. This is the one in Cannes, obviously, but it's also called Chapel of Notre Dame. The view from that of the entire city in the ocean was spectacular, and the quaint restaurants all over Old Town are also absolutely fabulous, quintessential Europe must visit. And right on top of the hill is a sign for Cannes, another social media spot.
Yeah, I would say that there were three archetypes of behaviors at at this event. There were those people that came here to learn, right? There were those people who came here to gain for themselves awareness. Like literally every speaking opportunity they were afforded, they were there. That's all they did. They probably didn't go to many sessions to listen. They only went to talk. And the third archetype were people who were there, probably like the significant others of people who were here for the conference, that just went to enjoy the beach, see some sights, have a nice time, right? I think the right mix is a little of all of those, Sri. It's not to heavy up on any one.
I agree, Peter. And the other thing I want to point out, even on those, what the archetypes is, you need to be there if you're in the agency world. You need to be there if you're in the brand world. Now, increasingly, you need to be there if you're on the retail side from the retail media and you're very much part of creative. You need to very much be there. And for service providers, data analytics, guys, you belong there as well. And I'm not just referring to data analytics, all kinds of services, especially coming from the agency side, non-agency side. I mean, this is an important festival. The CPG guys will be there every year. For us, Shop Talk and Grocery Shop, including the one at Barcelona, were primary events, but we will not miss out being at Cannes Lions every single year. Go forward. It's important. There's a lot of learning. We do podcasting. We will hopefully be speaking, hosting some fireside chats. We did one MC this year, thanks to Flywheel with Walmart Connect, hoping to do a whole lot more next year. But again, that's the story of our visit to Cannes Lions. Did we miss anything?
Well, there's one more thing I want to add to this, Shri. Yeah, we did, which is Shri. Where does Cannes Lions belong in the ecosystem of events vis-a-vis retail media?
Oh yeah. So, there are many events you're going to hit up on retail media this year, but there's going to be learning ones like the ones at the time this episode is released will be at the Path to Purchase Institute Retail Media Summit. Important learning moment for the industry. Cannot debate that. It's going to be year over year. But for retail media networks, they have chosen that CES and the Cannes Lions Festival are the two important points. CES is more for those that are actively working in retail media day to day, whereas Cannes Lions is more for the CMOs. Different audience, different conversations.
Yeah, the chief digital officer is the CES event. The CMO is the event is what Cannes Lions. Cannes Lions is also in June. So you kick off the year at CES, you set the agenda, you check in June, you see how things are going. That is it. But Retail Media Summit is much more of a day-to-day practitioner. So it's more about the art of doing it, whereas Cannes Lions and CES are really about the strategy of what you're doing.
Yeah, I want to also point out if you're a CMO in the CPG industry, you need to be at Cannes Lions or you're missing out on the conversation with RMN providers. For the longest time as a CMO, y'all have asked for the ability to be able to control that budget, ownership of the budget, call it whatever word makes you happy. Right now,
It's sucking up a lot of the budget these days. If you ignore it, you're just watching your dollars go out and you have no control over what's going on with them.
please do not go to Cannes Lions and not make time to talk to the retail media networks. That is a major miss and a faux pas if you don't do that. You need to show up. Similarly, I urge CDOs and I urge brand teams, CES, Show up, learn, be intellectually curious, and participate with the elements. If you don't point fingers later on that somebody did something wrong because you didn't show up. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would. Any other shout outs you want to give to people that we connected with while we were at Cannes Lions that were of particular note to you?
Our list is so long that if I continue to give shout outs, I'm gonna miss a bunch of people. I gotta tell you, must have networked individually with over 100 people. I think the highlights for me, we kind of called out the important service providers.
Anybody stop you for a selfie?
Oh, Peter,
A lot, right?
we was important, Peter. What do you think? Were we legends in our own mind?
There were some fanboys and fangirls in the audience, and we don't say that as a pejorative. We Shri and I are incredibly flattered that people look to us as worthy of recognition for whether it's for our education or our entertainment value. Shri and I are grateful.
Hey man, when people from Europe who are not working in the Americas are stopping by to say fan of the show and thank you. It's dawning more and more on me. We do this to educate the industry, the importance and the role, and that you and I now have a responsibility in this industry that we're providing this education.
I do want to shout out our dear friend Daniel Torres Dwyer, who drove up from Barcelona with his wonderful girlfriend Ellie and spent a couple days representing the FMCG guys. I was walking along the street with Daniel and he was wearing his FMCG guys Hawaiian shirt. I was just wearing I think an Augusta National shirt. And he got stopped and got totally fanboyed by somebody. And I watched this whole go down and I go, oh my God, so that's what it looks like from the outside when people are doing it to you. Cause it was a little strange, but Daniel's built up his own little community there. Kudos to Daniel for what the FMCG guys are doing.
Yeah, of course. FMCG guys are doing fabulous. That podcast is growing by the day, by the year. I look forward to more conversations on the European market. For those of you that want to learn about what's going on in Europe, service providers from America that want to go to Europe, get in touch with us and we'll connect you to Danielle so you can be on the FMCG Guys podcast. Any other notable highlights for you, Peter? I think we've covered most of it here on this episode.
Yeah, I would just say again, thanks to my posse at Flywheel for making my fellow CPG guy and Kavita and Daniel so welcome in the suite that was across from the Palais. We actually got a great view of the Olympic torch going by on Tuesday. I was in a meeting with AJ at the time. The people at Criteo were so wonderful to us. Amazon, Walmart Connect, Albertsons Media Collective, Kroger Precision Marketing, all of them were just so wonderful and so welcoming to us. And we love doing this. And we're so honored that we got to go to the event this year. And I think it might have been the first, but it's certainly not going to be the last Cannes Lions for the CPG guys, right, Shrey?
Yeah, and we promise you we'll be back in 2025 with a bigger bang. We'll have a lot more conversations. Hopefully, many of you will be participating in it, more podcasts, as well as some more stage appearances. And really looking forward to emceeing many more events.
Next year, more prediction for next year, more retail media, yes?
Guaranteed, Peter, at this point. I'll be shocked if it doesn't. And
anything more?
I do expect
more AI, more supply. Do you think supply chain will make its way in a big way? What's going on?
No, because supply chain is going to head to Shop Talk Fall this year. And if you're in supply chain, Google that word Shop Talk Fall. You need to be a part of it as an industry leader. You need to be contributing as well as drawing from that event. So I think, Peter, that's a wrap, right? What do you think?
Yeah. You know what? You and I are this week, since this is going to air on Wednesday of the week after Cannes Lions, you and I are going to be in the thick of it in our next event, which is the Retail Media Summit, hosted by Path to Purchase Institute in Chicago. So we've got a couple days out there. where we'll be recording some more episodes. We're going to be pretty content rich by the end of that event, Sri.
Yeah, I think I'm looking forward to going to that event again. Learning opportunity, contributing opportunity, podcasting opportunity, networking opportunity. This is why we do this. Let me remind our audience that all of our content can be found by simply going to a web browser and typing www.cpgguys.com. If you or anyone you know would like to contribute to thought leadership in our industry and participate on the podcast, please send us an email at contact@cpgguys.com. Again, that email is contact@cpgguys.com. We would appreciate if you left us a rating on the top right menu bar of our website. The rating is important because it tells us how we shape the show, who comes on the show, if you're getting it right and you like the programming we have on the show. And finally, I can't say thank you enough times to our large LinkedIn followership. You're actually fandom of the show by direct messaging, likes, clicks, comments, telling us who to bring. Really makes Peter and me more motivated to give you amazing programming. In the next 3 months, you're going to talk to the top leaders of America via our show and listen to them, both on the brand side, the retail media network side, and service providers. Part of our job is to connect service providers to both brands and retailers. We'll be doing a lot of that. And that's a wrap of this episode. See you soon on the next episode of the CPG Guys. And Mr. Bond has one more thing to say.
Don't forget, Sri, you and I are after Retail Media Summit 2 weeks later. We're up in Ithaca, New York at Cornell University, where we'll be kicking off the Food Executive Program. So lots more to come from the CPG Guys travels all around. And if you're in the middle of July, you happen to be around Disneyland in Tokyo and you think you see a CPG guy, might well be true. That's it for me, Sri.
That's a wrap. See you soon. Another episode of the CPG Guys.
The content in this podcast episode is provided for general informational purposes only. By listening to our episode, you understand that no information contained in this episode should be construed as advice from CPG Guys LLC or the individual author, hosts, or guests, nor is it intended to be a substitute for research on any subject matter. Reference to any specific product or entity does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by CPG Guys LLC. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. The views expressed by CPG Guys LLC do not represent the views of their employers or the entity they represent. CPG Guys LLC expressly disclaims any and all liability or responsibility for any direct, indirect, incidental, special, consequential, or other damages arising out of any individual's use of, reference to, or inability to use this podcast or the information we present in this podcast.